So Kim, you and I went to Japan the other month. You went to TGS.
Yep.
I went to TGS for a little bit, but mostly I played a lot of Resident Evil Revelations 2. But you got a chance to play some too.
I was impressed with it. I kind of liked from that get-go, that dynamic of like Moira's like freaking out.
Yeah.
And Claire's kind of just calm and cool. Like, I've been here, I've done this, whatever, it happens, you know?
And there's like there's clear parallels between Code Veronica and that.
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
It's almost, I've looked at it,
it's like this deja vu.
Yeah,
like.
she's in like the same position lying on the ground as she woke up on like Rockford Island or whatever. Basically, they wake up, they don't know where they are, they're looking at the bracelets, then they find a file, it's like, we're being watched.
Yeah, I like that whole like someone's watching
you and like disposing of test subjects and stuff. It seems like some pretty gnarly stuff's been going on. Guys are getting tortured a lot.
And that's also what got me, because I'm sitting there playing, and it got me within like the first 5 minutes with the jump scare.
Is it the one where the body falls a little bit?
No, where you're going by the shelf.
Oh, when you're pushing the shelf?
Yes. And this is kind of what I liked about the first Resident Evil Revelations, is that there's just, you're tense from the beginning.
That's a good point, actually, because like the first way I played Resident Evil Revelations was on like this, I had to play it on this original 3DS like review kit we have at the office, and it's got a smaller screen than usual, and it's portable already, so it's not even as big as the XL, let alone playing it on, you know,
I played
consoles.
the Wii U version on console, yeah.
So I didn't get that sense of it, but I could tell going straight into Revelations 2 that I already felt a little more creeped out. You know, the atmosphere is like, you know, it's a prison that's essentially like a torture hell area. It's generic in some ways where it's like, here are the hooks and, you know, here's the body. So they have a ways to go to impress me, especially in like a post-PT world.
There's definitely more of an emphasis on story. The first Revelations, I didn't think the story was that great. But from this, I felt like the characters right out of the gate for me had already this cool dynamic going on. And I think too, by having someone associated with the Burton family like Moira, you already are kind of like, what's going on there?
Which it's Barry's daughter.
Yes, Barry's
and Barry, who has not been acknowledged like at all in the franchise, you know, big part of the first game. He picks up Jill Valentine in a chopper at the end of the third one, and now Barry, and the strong suggestion that you're going to play as Barry.
Yes.
I know you talked to Akabe-san, I talked to him. There was a very strong suggestion that, and if I can venture a guess, that it's going to be Barry and his daughter at some point.
Because they're already kind of teasing like, okay, what is their relationship like? There seems to be some tension there.
Well, right, you know, there's one part where Claire picks up a shotgun and then she's like, Moira, you need something to protect yourself.
No, I really, really don't. Sorry, I don't do firearms.
Not after what happened.
I felt like they wanted you to think maybe something happened to Barry, but then after I thought about it, I'm like, no, you're totally going to play as Barry.
Yeah,
like,
it's mysterious.
But Barry has another daughter.
Yeah, he's got another daughter and a wife. Would it be way too of a reach if like, there's at one point where like a voice starts talking to them over a radio, and it's a little heavy-handed, but they said that that character, that lady over the intercom, is a known character from the series. She's a big player.
I read that in your cover story.
Yeah, and like you had me thinking for a second, like, oh, I wonder if it's Barry's other daughter and there's some weird thing going on there. But that'd be dumb.
Those bracelets change color in response to fear.
And who exactly are you?
Could you tell anything from the voice, like who it might be?
Oh, so I couldn't, the voice wasn't recognizable to me at all. And they also, Okabe-san specifically said that that voice wouldn't be a tell in what it is. So there's a chance that she's never been voiced before, which would discount the theory I had, which is like, it'd make a lot of sense if it was Annette Birkin, who has history with Claire. Claire and Leon, through Annette's sort of twisted perception of reality, may be responsible for her husband's death, and like they took her daughter and saved her. And all that happened to Annette at the end of Resident Evil 2 is like some pipes fell on her, and then a self-destruct system went off. And that's not a confirmed kill, especially in the Resident Evil series where like Ada fell off. She took like a 50-story fall and like still had the gumption to throw a rocket launcher to Claire. But I got the impression that it's not Annette. But who knows?
I am really interested in this story, and I think it works too because they're going the episodic route.
Yeah, it's going to be 4 consecutive weeks.
That is awesome.
I think it's a really cool idea. My question for you is, especially as a huge Telltale fan, do you think that the Resident Evil story is strong enough to keep people coming back from week to week?
If you'd have asked me that probably a few weeks ago before I played this demo, I would say, nah. What I got from that demo was just such a sense of story from the beginning that I feel more confident. Do I think it's like, you know, gonna be an instant home run. I don't know.
What's cool about this episodic structure is that they can tease something at the end of the episode. And it's like, well, maybe I'm playing someone else now.
Yeah.
I have some worries about the episodic structure, like just the linearity of having to get from like point A to point B. That might be a thing, but I'm not really sure. I mean, I really liked what I played, and Resident Evil 4 and 5, even more so, is like they're pretty linear experiences. So it's not like they can't succeed in that format.
Here's something I actually want to bring up with you. You can play this game as a single player and swap between, Claire and Moira.
Almost like Resident Evil 0.
Yeah. Or you can play with someone else. And when I'm playing any game that has any creepiness going on, I don't really like to share that experience with someone else. But swapping between them did not feel satisfying combat-wise. It felt like someone is meant to play the other player for me.
Right. In Resident Evil 4, one of the beautiful things about being able to like aim over the shoulder as Leon for the first time is like that guy starts running at you, I'm immediately instinctually going to shoot them in the feet. And then they trip up and fall. And what would usually happen with me if I was playing Resident Evil 4 is I'd go up and I'd start like slashing with my knife to save ammo. But now what you can do is like, first of all, stun a dude as Moira with the flashlight, switch back to Claire, shoot him in the feet, switch back to Moira, who has like this one-hit kill where she jams the pointy end of the crowbar into his skull and like, pulls it out. It's so instantaneous that I felt like that was actually pretty fun. And I do wonder if I'd want to give that up to play with someone else. But if I had to choose a type of system to play co-op with and try to keep it kind of like tense, would be to have as asymmetrical roles in combat, which I'm really curious about it. But I was surprised because they don't let up, whereas in Resident Evil 4, dudes would like run up to you and then they just slow down.
No, these guys come straight at you.
They come right for you, they launch towards you, and to compensate for that, Revelations 1 had this thing where like you timed it right, when a dude was about to attack you, you could like dodge forward or backwards and have like this invulnerability window. With Revelations 2, you can dodge actively in any direction, so you have more mobility, so the enemies come at you a little bit faster. Yeah, I was getting my ass kicked. Like, I was really humbled, and I was happy to find out that, like, the producer is like, no, I usually should just run there. I'm also really curious to see what develops from, like, the afflicted enemy, because many times in Resident Evil's past, they've been like, these aren't zombies this time. And every time it's like, well, you're infected and you really want to bite people and it spreads, you're zombies. But this time, the afflicted are actually tortured humans that have been tortured to the point of insanity. It's kind of strange, you know, for the first time in the series, it's like, I buy that these aren't zombies. Narratively, I'm curious to see where that leads and what other creatures.
Messed up story there.
If it eventually will come back around to like bioterrorism and stuff like that, and is Umbrella behind it, or what's going on there? I'm definitely curious about that. I think that my playthrough went a little bit longer than yours, whereas you played up until...
I was just in the prison and then just walked out of the prison. I know when I was talking to Akabe-san, he told me that it's going to take place on that whole island, but you're going to be in so many different locales. So I'm like, all right, we already saw a prison, like what's next?
Right. Part I played after that, when you walk up and the sun's coming through and it's a little bit more brightly lit, it's still definitely the prison, but it has a different feel because it's a little more open. And then eventually Moira and Claire get split up.
Oh yeah, and then the prisoners all come out.
It was really cool. There was like this rush where it's like, I need to get back to Claire, and I couldn't switch back and forth just for the tension and like the moment, I think, is why that was disabled. But I also stunned a dude, and then I tried to hit him with my crowbar, and he just like grabbed me immediately. It didn't work out well. She shouldn't fight. And then I met back up with Claire. You know, we did the whole thing where we got the gear, and then we got attacked by like a giant dude with a huge maul. Reminded me of like, you know, when you see like the chainsaw guy in Resident Evil 4. It's just like, this guy is tough. I can beat him probably, but I need to get out of here. And then they just walked out into the daylight onto the island, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
Yeah.
Seems like there's other spots on the island, maybe different facilities
They're
somewhere.
Hinting, but yeah, I walked out of the demo a lot more excited than I was expecting to be.
It's just fun to play. At the end of the day, this is the most the Resident Evil series has felt like 4 in a while. It's kind of refreshing. I don't know, I'm excited. It's the first new next-gen Resident Evil experience, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Same here.
Yeah.